Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Data here. A couple of big trades going down in the NHL today, giving you some instant reaction and analysis for each one. Starting with this first live stream coming at you as the Montreal Canadiens traded away Evgenii Dadonov at 50% salary retained. A great move from Kent Hughes, no matter what they were going to get back for Dadonov, to trade away Shea Weber's contract last season for Dadonov and be able to take advantage of Vegas needing the LTIR space. And now a year later, we knew he was a rental. We knew he was getting moved for something. Couldn't quite find a third round pick, maybe. Didn't want to risk it. He goes to the Dallas Stars, a team that is contending for their division, contending for their conference, wanting to make a push this season. And he gets Denis Gurianov, former 12th overall pick in the 2015 draft, a speedy winger with a great shot who now will be allowed to roam free and play wild with Martin St. Louis as his coach. Maybe do something a little bit more than he was being boxed into, getting fourth line minutes on the Stars. He's not a defensive player. That's not what he was meant to do. So now he can kind of spread his wings and fly a little bit on the Canadiens, and Dadonov can go to the Stars, get a push at the Cup. And I like this deal for both teams, but I do think the Canadiens get the better long-term piece. So breaking it all down now before we get to the Barbashev Dean trade and possibly later today or this weekend or into next week. I would think sometime today or tomorrow max. We're thinking Timo Meier is going to be happening very soon. Patrick Kane coming likely by Wednesday. But starting it off here, looking at the trade itself, let's look at the team that got the more immediate piece in Dadonov. If Evgenii Dadonov goes to Dallas, he is a playmaking third-line winger who has struggled to finish this season. Now, as you can see, his wins above replacement percentile dropped dramatically this year, going from around 75th percentile to like the 4th or something. But over the last 3 years, looking at weighted average data, he is in that 74th percentile for even strength offense. Great for the primary assists. He is pretty average at mostly everything else. Not quite a goal scorer, but still at 35th percentile. Not quite above average when it comes to anything else. Finishing in the 47th percentile there. Yeah, Timo is getting close. Absolutely. Going to move within the next 24 hours or so. Is there news in the Patrick Kane situation? Is that what you're saying, Dabrowski-Ego? Dabrowski-Ego leaving some thoughts on that. Let me see what the Discord server said here. The Rangers have recalled Ryan Carpenter from the Wolfpack and have loaned Jake Leschyshyn to Hartford, so he cleared through waivers. Yeah, that's a good point. But back to just looking at Dadonov right now. This season, although his offense has taken a little bit of a dip, his play overall has taken a dramatic fall. You see in the defense, he was way above average. Now he's way below average. If you can kind of just swallow that and say, forget the defense, and you just look at the offense, he's still there on a bad Canadiens team, especially recently. Recently, he's been doing quite well with the Canadiens. I've been watching the games. The Dadonov that I've seen in the last 10 games or so seems, I don't want to say drastically different, but he seems much better. He looks a lot better than he did in the previous 35 games or so before that or whatever. So Gurianov and Dadonov Gurianov and the Barbashev trades, yeah, the two big ones of the day. So the Dallas Stars get a third line piece in Dadonov. I think they're going to enjoy having him there, a good playmaking piece, and he's going to do better than Gurianov was doing, at least for this season. Denis Gurianov, looking at his stats, not too pretty, I do have to say. That 8th percentile in the projected wins above replacement there, at the absolute bottom this year. A couple of years ago, and even before that, he had scored 20 goals. He had scored 30 points before. Right now, his time on ice is saying that he is a fourth liner. Denis Gurianov was not getting enough opportunities. In his career, he averages 13.37 per night, but here in Dallas, the last few games, he was sometimes playing 11 to 13 minutes, but oftentimes around 9 minutes a night. This season, he went from 15 minutes a night, almost 16, to 14 minutes a night, now averaging 12 minutes a night, and most recently 9 minutes per game. With those opportunities, he's not really going to thrive. The Stars, though, although they get some value for him, they're going to be kicking themselves that they took Gurianov 12th overall back in 2015. He's still young enough. Lunchbox, hello, son. Back in 2015, yeah, you have the Stars taking Gurianov, then you have the famous Zboril DeBrusk-Sinishin, but you miss out on Barzal, you miss out on Connor, you miss out on Shabbat, Eriksson Ek, a lot of Brock Besser, Travis Konechny. So Denis Gurianov, I wouldn't call him a bust, but I wouldn't say that he has really lived up to what the Stars were hoping that they would get from him. And they end up moving him for a rental in a year where they're trying to push for a deep run. It's not the worst thing. And it's not like the Rangers who lose out on Kravtsov for a 7th-round pick in 3 years from now. But it's still disappointing. His even strength offense, not there. Even strength defense, not there. His primary assists per 60, even in that fourth line role, is above average, which is interesting. McKenzie and Pasquale, welcome to the stream. Penalties, drawing penalties, slightly above average. But here, Gurianov's projection card entering this season gives a glance at what offensive upside might still be there. Interesting. Let's take a look at this one. This was his projection card, not what he has done this season, but his projection card. Look at these high offense, high octane offensive outputs here. In the right situation, don't give him fourth line time. If he could get in that 94th percentile for shots, that 88th percentile for one-timers, that 86th percentile for in-zone shots, I think this is a great pickup for the Canadiens. Absolutely, especially when you consider that it came essentially for free. Not only did they have to trade Shea Weber's contract, but it's not like it was a dump and they had to give up a 2nd-round pick with it. They got back value, which they turned into Gurianov. So getting rid of Weber, doing themselves a favor, has now turned into a 25-year-old former 1st-round pick who they're going to try a little bit of reclamation project on. Jay Fresh here, easy move for Dallas. Gurianov is a pending RFA with a $2.9 million qualifying offer. He would have been one of those, Gurianov's going to be a UFA, unqualified guys at the end of June. But instead, he'll hopefully get some new life with the Canadiens. So I love this deal for the Habs. I like it for the Stars because they get value when they were just going to let him walk for nothing. Overall, I don't like it for the Stars in terms of that they didn't, I don't know if I can say they didn't manage him well, but I don't think he was getting the greatest opportunities either. The Stars are an odd team at times where you have Jamie Benn this year doing amazing, but Tyler Seguin's lacking behind. So what I'm trying to say is both teams benefit, but I like this deal a lot more for the Canadiens, especially as a Habs fan. So I say all that with, let me come back here with, is this not, my apologies. My goodness. I wasn't, this whole time I've been talking without showing you the screen. My apologies. My goodness. Let me show you that right away. Well, I'm sure you could still follow with what I was saying, but let me show you this right here. All this, what I've been saying this whole time. My apologies on that one. I clicked on share screen, but then I didn't click the confirmation button. So you can see what I've been saying on Denis Gurianov right here. This is what I've been saying about him in terms of his 3-year weighted average data. Haha. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right. So that's what we're saying about Gurianov, his numbers from the last 3 years. His microstats card, this is what his projection card entering this season, showing you the offensive upside that could be there. Look at these numbers. This is the offensive upside that could be there on Denis Gurianov if he were to be given the right situations and ice time and all of that. So I love this move for the Canadiens. I like it for the Stars for all the reasons that I previously said. And I was looking at ice time here. Again, I was looking at Gurianov. Ice time that he's gotten the last little while, 9 minutes per night, 13 minutes, 11.5 minutes, 9 minutes, 9 minutes. Scrolling down per season, 1551, then 1411, then 1208. This guy he received Calder votes in his rookie season. This guy scored 20 goals in his first year when he was playing 13 minutes a night. So he could definitely do it. He had 30 points in 55 games when he was playing 16 minutes a night. 82 divided by 55 times by 30. When giving him 1551 per night, he was on pace to score 45 points. So he can definitely do it. He could definitely do it. I'm excited as a Canadiens fan, especially to see what he can do. And Evgenii Dadonov, he was doing all right the last little bit with the Canadiens. He was getting his fair share of ice time. He was getting 13 to 16, sometimes as high as 17 minutes of ice time per night, averaging 14 and a half. He had 18 points in 50 games, but over the last little stretch, I don't want to see the last, complete game log. I mean, see the last 10 games or so, because he only has 1 assist in the last 5 games, -4 against the Hurricanes. Yikes, from 5 games ago. But if I could see the complete game log here on Dadonov, who's bounced around quite a few teams now. Vegas, Florida, Ottawa, Montreal, Dallas. Here we go. So we can see Let me scroll down to most recently. Yeah, so in this little section here, 0, 0, 0, 1 assist, 0, 0, 1 assist, 2 assists, 1 assist, 0, 0, 0, 1 assist. And then before that, there were much longer stretches of zeros out here, like all over here, huge stretches of zeros. So all that to say, the Canadiens now moving forward with Dadonov, they'll sign him, I would hope, to at least his $2.9 million qualifying offer. They have retained on Dadonov at 50%, so that does limit them from retaining on a million different contracts come deadline day. They still will be able to retain on, let me see here. I think they can still retain on 2 more, correct? Because buyout is separate. Yeah, so they can still retain up to 2 more contracts before they reach their maximum. And I like it. I like it a lot. They got Chris Tierney off waivers. They get Denis Gurianov. I love that they're going to be hopefully players in terms of facilitators on deadline day. Now, the Dallas Stars, bringing in Dadonov at 50% retained, they will still have $667,000, not really enough to get a player, but enough that if they move out somebody, they could still bring somebody else in. This is likely their bigger move of the deadline, having Dadonov at a $2.5 million cap hit. I don't think I see any other deals really happening for Dallas. I think they have a well-built team. I think they're doing well. I think they're in a good place. I don't think any other moves will be happening for the Stars. Opinion on Kapanen being claimed by the Blues. I think that's another good reclamation, change of scenery type of thing. I think Kapanen really needed that. And the Blues also, well, I'll get more into the Blues when we go to the breakdown for Barbashev and Zach Dean. That will be a separate live stream starting maybe 5 minutes after this one. Those are all my thoughts. Not too much to say. I love it for the Canadiens, and I like it for the Stars. Now, years down the road, Dallas wins the Stanley Cup, and Gurianov walks in July of 2023. Well, that would be a different story. But I would be very positively sure that the Canadiens will be re-signing Gurianov. Likely not for, I don't think it's going to be a multi-year deal at that 2.9 cap hit, but I could see a 1 or 2 year deal happening for Gurianov and Dadonov with a playmaking role on that maybe third line middle six for Dallas. It's a win-win, but I like it for the Canadiens a lot more. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you're watching after we've already gone live. I always like having these archived so I can go back and listen to it months or years after the fact and see what did I say, did I kind of get it right at least a little bit. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to leave a like, subscribe so that you won't miss out on any other breaking news around the NHL. We'll be live in a few more minutes with the Barbashev breakdown, so stay tuned here on the channel. And of course, stay tuned for trade deadline coverage on March the 3rd, Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. live here on the channel. And much more going on here at Day 782, so we'd love to have you join in on the team. Thank you for joining this afternoon and leaving your thoughts. We'll see you in just a few minutes for the breakdown on the next big trade of the day that took place earlier this morning, which was between the Blues and the Vegas Golden Knights.